What's up YouTube world, it's your girl here back at it again with another video. If you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. My name is Garvey and on my channel we talk about all things health, fitness, lifestyle, hair, food, really whatever you guys want to see. So if you're just tuning in or you're new to my channel, this is part 2 of a 2-part video about my experience with endometriosis. In part 1 I go into great detail about what endometriosis is, my experience with endometriosis and how I came to the conclusion that I had endometriosis, but I also speak at great lengths about why I was going back and forth for so long about taking birth control to combat endometriosis and some of those symptoms associated with it. So if any of that resonates with you, I strongly encourage you to go check out part 1 of this video and hopefully you can learn some things from my experiences that will help you with your journey. In this part of the video, I'll be going through my experiences using oral contraceptives to treat endometriosis. So I've been on the pill for about a year now, for a little over a year now, and in that year I've gone through 3 different brands of birth control pills for endometriosis. So I'll be talking about side effects, pretty much everything that I experienced with these pills, and where I am in my journey with endometriosis now that I've been using the pill for a little over a year. Hey everyone, so as I'm editing this video, I'm realizing that I originally recorded this content almost a year ago now, so the part 2 update is well overdue and thank you guys so much for your patience. But just keep in mind that anytime I say that I've been on birth control for about a year now, because that was almost a year ago, in reality I've been on birth control for about 2 years now. So there will be another update coming soon, but just keep that in mind that at the time that I filmed this, it was about a year, but yes, that happened. So thank you again for your patience. So I'll start off by saying all of the pills that I'll be discussing in this video are both low dose and monophasic. Low dose meaning they have both estrogen and progestin, and they are all part of a 28-day regimen, meaning that there are 21 active pills and then 7 placebo pills. So the very first pill that was prescribed to me was called Lutera, and I took it for about 4 months from December of 2020 to April of 2021. And yeah, within the first week of taking it, I actually had to go to the emergency room because I was experiencing extreme cramping in my legs, and the advice nurse thought that it might actually be blood clots. So I was in the hospital and they did like ultrasounds on my legs. It wasn't blood clots, but I do still think that the cramping was because of the birth control. And that was kind of just the beginning of Lutera. As I continued taking it, I had this thing where I would wake up at the same time every morning, extremely nauseous, like in the middle of the morning, maybe 3 in the morning, just super nauseous. I wouldn't actually throw up, but I was so nauseous and I'd have to like get up and walk around, and eventually I'd go back to sleep, but this happened every single day. And in addition to that, sometimes I was nauseous throughout the duration of the entire day. There were some positive side effects to Lutera though, which is ultimately why I decided to try it out for 4 months to see if some of those negative side effects went away. The first positive side effect was that I had extremely light periods that only lasted really like 2 days. Another positive thing was that I had incredible stamina and endurance. It felt like I could keep working out forever and ever, and like I really never got tired. So some days I would be doing 2-3 workouts and really didn't feel anything. And also, with that being said, I had an extremely high sex drive. If you watched my previous video, I was really like afraid of having sex just based on some of my symptoms of endometriosis, and with Lutera, my sex drive was like through the roof, to say the least. In hindsight, I really think that Lutera had a huge impact on my mental state and like my overall mood. At the time I was in a relationship and I was just emotional all the time. Like I was crying a lot, I was always kind of like irritated and bothered by things. When I ended up splitting from this person, I do think that it led to a lot of depression. Like my emotions were all over the place, and they're not usually like that, and even now I don't think it's quite as bad, given it's kind of hard to know whether it was like the birth control or like there was a lot of other things going on. But I ultimately do think that it played a large part in kind of my shifts of emotion and having these like extreme emotions. So yeah. After the 4 months with Lutera and my negative side effects weren't improving, I decided to go back to the OBGYN because really the nausea and waking up in the middle of the night was unbearable, even though there were some positive side effects with Lutera. They ended up prescribing me a different pill called Junel or Junel, I've heard it pronounced both ways, and I started taking that from around April of 2021 to about October of 2021, so that's around 6 months that I was taking Junel. So my transition to Junel was positive at first. I want to say for about the first month, everything seemed like it was going to be okay, but after that, I started having a bunch of negative side effects, and I really don't remember any positive ones. The first thing I started noticing was that I was craving all kinds of junk food, so cookies, chips, sugar, carbs, and those are not things that I typically eat. And with that, my skin started to break out a little bit, and I'm not sure if it was because of the food that I was consuming, the food that I was craving, or if it was from the hormones themselves. So those were the first two things I noticed. During that time, my hair also was so dry and like unmanageable. I thought it was the products I was using or like the water, but my hair was so dry and it was breaking. It was hard to style. During that time, I actually ended up getting like a whole new haircut because I thought my hair was damaged. But once I switched to the third birth control pill, my hair started looking better almost immediately. So I do think that the birth control contributed to that, at least a little bit. Probably the worst side effects for me were the fact that I was having super irregular periods and I was having PMS. So I'm taking birth control to treat the symptoms I was having from endometriosis, and I was experiencing not nearly as much pain that I experienced with endometriosis, but I was experiencing some of those symptoms of PMS, and I think it kind of just like contradicted the whole reason that I started taking birth control in the first place. So I was extremely unhappy with that. There was irregular periods, bloating, cramping, kind of those PMS symptoms, and also something else that was just terrible for me is that I was retaining a lot of water weight in my midsection. So, you know, I pride myself in eating healthy and working out, and I was just feeling not confident about my body. I was doing the same workouts I was always doing, and then I'd look in the mirror and I'd still be like bloaty. I'm always used to having what's called your linea alba showing, and I'll insert a picture somewhere so you can see what I'm talking about. But so when I was having this water retention in my stomach, I just completely lost my confidence. I didn't want to take pictures. Like, if for my Instagram, you can see I like wasn't really posting on social media at that time, and yeah, it was just super annoying, and I thought it would go away, which is why I was on Junel for about 6 months, but ultimately it didn't go away, and between the irregular periods and those PMS symptoms, I decided to switch to the birth control pill that I'm on now. So this is the pill that I'm currently on, and this is the 4th pack, so I've been on it for about 4 months, from about September, October to now in January. So Sprintec has been okay so far. I like it so far. I've been on it for about 4 months, and usually any side effects that I had with these other birth controls would present themselves earlier on, and so far I've only been having very minor side effects with Sprintec. One of them is that I experience a little bit of acne around the time of my cycle, but right now is when I'm experiencing that acne, and you know, this is nowhere near as bad as when I had endometriosis, that hormonal acne. You can see my face right now. It's not that big of a deal at all. Another thing I'm still kind of experiencing is that water retention and bloating, but usually it's leading up to my period, so kind of the first couple of days before that placebo week, I'll experience the bloating and acne and some of that water retention. So not nearly as bad as when I was on Junel, but that was a deal breaker, so I'm hoping that that goes away with time. So yeah, I've been taking birth control for a little over a year now, and it's not a permanent solution. I'm still not super content with taking birth control or the idea for taking birth control for the rest of my life to treat endometriosis, but right now it's what's working for me. If you saw part 1, then you kind of understand some of the symptoms that I was experiencing, and this is just, birth control has done a lot for me. I really encourage you to go take a look at part 1 if you haven't already, but I was experiencing, you know, not nausea, vomiting, dizziness, light sensitivity. Some days I couldn't get out of bed. I was tired all the time, you know, in pain all the time, and I can't imagine what life would be like now if I was still experiencing those things. So if you're at all considering birth control to treat endometriosis, I really hope that this helps in some way. If you're interested in learning more about the kinds of birth control that I was prescribed, maybe they'll work for you. It really is trial and error. Again, it's been a little over a year and I've tried 3 different pills over the course of the year. They say that the side effects from the pill should start to go away in around 3 to 4 months, which is why I've tried so many different birth control pills over the course of this year. So if you're watching this video and you're like, hey, I have some of those side effects, I really encourage you to have a chat with your OBGYN and see what other options there might be for you, because really you shouldn't have to experience pain or, you know, any of these side effects while you're on the pill. Before I started birth control, I pretty much called up everyone I know that had taken birth control and asked them about their experiences, but really your experience with birth control is unique to you because, you know, the hormones interact with everybody's body differently. But if you're interested in any of these birth control pills that I've talked about in the video, maybe have a chat with your doctor, OBGYN, whoever, to see if one of them might work for you. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please take this as an opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Comment below if you've tried any of these pills before or which birth control you're using right now. I'd love to have a little discussion down in the comments and help somebody else out, because when I was looking to start birth control for endometriosis, there was like 2 videos and they weren't really clear. So I would love this to be an ongoing discussion, and if you like this video, if you like the content, give it a big thumbs up, and it lets me know to keep making more content about this. And it keeps me encouraged to keep making videos. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.